in 2019, I had a front row seat to researchers and physicians from all over the world that were presenting the new research on AHCC, active hexose correlated compound, and all sorts of different diseases and conditions, one of them being HPV. This was an unpublished at the time, but it was ongoing. It was this phase 2, double-blinded, placebo-controlled sort of gold standard of research led by Judith Smith out of Texas. And she shared these incredible results for clearing HPV. And when I heard these results, my jaw was on the floor and I was just like, I have to share this, because from my work as a dental hygienist, I was seeing how many women were dealing with this. And I was also sharing on Instagram, and they were coming to me, with my work on AHCC. And when I got back to the States, I just started blasting it, and I would go on different podcasts and share what I knew. And women would inevitably find me, DM me. I would have hundreds of women in my DMs after these big shows that I would do, just desperate for answers. And it just I get emotional even thinking about it sometimes right now. The stories that were coming to me were just heartbreaking. And realizing that these women felt like they had no one to turn to. They had a doctor, yes, but they weren't getting help from their gynecologist. There was so much lack in education around this thing, this HPV thing. And they were just desperate for help, for answers, for guidance, for a fucking friend who wasn't going to shame them, who could maybe point them in the right direction. And I would get so overwhelmed hearing about the shame associated with this virus because it is sexually transmitted, and because of all the underlying gross, shameful things that we connect to sex in our culture. There's a lot of shame around sex, yes, yet it's plastered everywhere.
Right.
And people feel like they can't talk about this very intimate space just out there on the web. You just don't see people talking about this because there is this shame associated with this virus, even though it is the common cold. It is the cervical common cold.
80 million people.
With how common it is. But I was hearing words from these women like, I feel gross. I feel dirty. I feel ashamed. I don't even want to have sex with my partner. Am I allowed to date? Is it unethical to date or to have sex? And just no answers out there, not only from the mental and emotional side, but also from the physical side. What can I do to help my body? Is it really only the vaccine? Is it really only scraping off a piece of my cervix that's going to help this? And so I really started to see the need and continue sharing. And it has brought me to this point where I cannot help. There's so many inquiries and women and partners, men find me too, but it's mostly women who need help in this space. And I just, we just don't have a good option that addresses the physical, the mental, the emotional, the relational, and the spiritual on every aspect. And I just knew that I needed to create something that could help anyone in the world. This program needed to be created 4 years ago, but all the puzzle pieces of my life needed to come into place in such a way where it's meant to be. It's on time and in time right now, teaming up with Nathan and his expertise and his direct clinical experience and the women that he works with. Everything is perfect the way that it's working out. And I'm just so incredibly proud and honored to be able to help women and finally have an answer for these women who are desperate for answers.